Welcome back to L89X's. I've got a great video that I'm putting together for you guys, and it's actually a film review on a movie that's technically long overdue. I wanted to do this quite some time ago. It's called How to Train Your Dragon. It was released June 13th this year of 2025, and it has a lot of noteworthy celebrities and actors. It was written and directed by Dean DeBlois, and also co-written by Cressida Cowell and William Davies. And it stars Mason Thames, who plays Hiccup, and Nico Parker, who plays Astrid, and Gerard Butler, who plays the character Stoic, a very strong Viking leader who's also Hiccup's father. Really good film, and you know it's. And again, as I mentioned, this is long overdue. I wanted to do this review, quite some time back. Unfortunately, there's just been a lot of things going on, a lot of traveling, and a lot of family stuff. And so some of these reviews that I wanted to pump out a lot earlier are now starting to kind of come out now. So I apologize for that, guys. But as I mentioned before, there's some really good, notable, actors in this film. Very good supporting cast, very good supporting roles as well too. So I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. The previous movies obviously were animated, and if you guys got a chance to watch any of that, then you'll kind of know what I'm talking about. So as I mentioned, this film is a live action remake of the 2010 animated film that we've grown to love, and it's produced by DreamWorks Animation. There's been a lot of reviews on this film, and I'll just kind of share with you some of the reviews before I kind of get into my review. But Brandon Yu of the New York Times gave this film a very positive review and said that this live action remake of the 2010 animated film is definitely faithful to the original. The result is exhilarating at times, it's somewhat mechanical. Daisy Gomez of Deadline Hollywood also gave this film a very positive review and said, while certain details and specific scenes were modified and some dialogue subtly shifted to enhance the story, the new version follows the original plot's 3-act structure to a T. Helen O'Hara of the Empire magazine gave this film 3 stars, 3 out of 5, and said it's clearly made with real love and care, but shows far too much deference to its progenitor. Even in a remake, we need more originality and less playing the hits. Kyle Smith of the Wall Street Journal stated that Mr. DeBlois' film harks back to the pre-Star Wars style of children's movie making, when the condensation of oversimplification was a defining attribute. Radhian Simon-Pillay of The Guardian gave the film 2 out of 5 stars and said DreamWorks tries to find success with the Disney live-action remake template, but falls short. And Brian Tellerco of RogerEbert.com gave the film 2 out of 4 stars and wrote that the new version on How to Train Your Dragon doesn't do a single thing better than the original. It's not quite as soulless as the worst of these live action remakes. So there's some, evenly mixed kind of reviews, some positive, some not so positive. Everyone's got kind of like a different take to it. I personally like how they were able to bring this animated film to kind of like a real life make and version of this film. I think it was great, and I think from young adults or young kids to young adults to older people, I think people of all ages are going to enjoy this film. Let's take a look and see what Rotten Tomatoes has to say. Rotten Tomatoes, the tomato meter gave it 77%, and the popcorn meter gave it 97%. That's interesting. Let's take a look at some of the other reviews here. There's a lot of audience reviews. Esteban, the movie was amazing. Brie, I love the movie. I've watched all of the movies and the TV series. The only thing I didn't like was how Astra didn't look the same and how they took some of the key lines away. Kimberly, well-made movie, great casting, definitely a favorite of 2025. Let's take a look at some more critic reviews. Dina Kaur of the Arizona Republic. Dames is an incredible actor and this felt like a role he was meant to play. I agree with that one, actually. Mason Thames actually did really good acting in this film. He did bring life to his character, and was able to kind of bridge the animated version of his character to the real life make, and I think he did a very astute job. Very good. David Sims of The Atlantic. To my own surprise, I like the new version of How to Train Your Dragon about as much as I do its ancestor. Both to me are above average bits of children's entertainment that struggle with the same problems. Jake Wilson of the Sydney Morning Herald. He's also a top critic. What's the point of going from animation to live action if not to bring the story closer to the real world? ? Louis Guy, Ronita Roy Mohan, Flick-sided. For all the diversity and the beauty of the locations, every scene was so painfully similar down to the musical beats, the camera angles, and the dialogue delivery. That I ate for something new. So I'm going to get to some more Rotten Tomatoes reviews here. And I want to kind of give you guys kind of a sense as to what people are saying about this movie. I'm not sure if you had a chance to watch it or not. If you do, please watch this film. Take these reviews with a grain of salt. Don't let it impede in your way of being, deciding whether you want to watch this film or not. I think it was a good live action remake. I think it did a good job in being able to showcase the movie in a different kind of format. And so let's take a look here. So Sean Means of the Movie Critic, because the original was really good, it's not too hard to believe that a copy made of the people who gave the first one so much care and attention could get it right, or mostly right, a second time. John Serba of The Decider, if we must have live action remakes for the sake of crass capitalism, let them be more like this. Lane Mills of Greek Vibes Nation. How to Train Your Dragon is the best live action remake of an animated movie ever. Point blank, period. Wow. Reginald Ponder from ReggiePonder.com. In the beginning, Butler feels like he's playing a character with his accent and overall presentation, but he settles in and feels more like a father and leader of these warriors. How to Train Your Dragon is fun, funny, fantastical, and forward-thinking. So yeah, I'm going to get to a few more here. J.D. Duran in In Session Film, How to Train Your Dragon 2025. Funny enough, has no conviction to be live action. It desperately wants to be a cartoon. Outside of Mason Thames and Nico Parker, the film is nothing more than trying to mimic its animated counterpart. Matt Neal, ABC Radio Australia, says, even with all the same ingredients, sometimes a dish just doesn't taste the same. Huh. Nadine Whitney of The Curb, Enchanting, one of the best live action adaptations, perfect for the intended audience of children and fans of the animation. Yeah, I agree. I agree with Nadine here. Definitely one of the best live action adaptations, and definitely perfect for the intended audience of children and, young adults, older adults, people of all ages, frankly. I think Lay Mills from Greek Vibes Nation also kind of attested that as well too. What I'm struggling with is Matt Neal's comment. Even with all the same ingredients, sometimes a dish just doesn't taste the same. So I'm a foodie. If you guys are foodies, yeah, sometimes you're going to get some inconsistencies when it comes to going to your favorite place. But most often the case, a good restaurant, and I'm talking about a restaurant that is known for serving good quality food using fresh, good ingredients, preferably mostly local and where they can. And a restaurant that prides itself not just providing good food, but providing good ambience, cleanliness of the place, the operational staff, from everything from the time that you get into the restaurant, you order, how long it takes for you to get your food, again, the cleanliness of your food and the cleanliness of the place and how great the food tastes until the time that you leave. All of that should be good. Is it going to be perfect? No restaurant is perfect. But as long as you get that same kind of consistency over and over again, then I don't understand where Matt's coming off of. Like, I've been to so many different restaurants, some that I haven't gone for months, and I'll order the same thing and it's exactly the same way as I remember the previous time that I ordered. Or there's some really good restaurants where we'll have some here, have some like in another place when we're traveling, and the consistency is always the same. Now, Matt's trying to use food as an analogy here. Even with all the same ingredients, sometimes a dish just doesn't taste the same. I think Matt is missing the mark. That's my personal opinion. I'm not trying to argue with him, but maybe he didn't have enough butter in his popcorn or something. Anyhow, I digress. But yeah, there's lots of great comments here. Just go to Rotten Tomatoes. As I mentioned before, this film I think definitely delivered. It did good. I really liked it. I enjoyed it. This film, I believe, 77% on the tomato meter and 97% on the popcorn meter. So lots of good reviews. So now I want to share with you my opinion and tell you a little bit about my interpretation of watching How to Train Your Dragon. So I watched the new live-action adaptation of How to Train Your Dragon, directed by Dean DeVlois, the same guy who technically helmed the original animated classic. And at first I was a bit skeptical. I'm not always into the live-action remakes of animated films, but I was really, encouraged to watching this film, and it's been I wanted it, the graphics, the cinematography looked really, really good, and that it wasn't too CGI-y for me, and that's kind of what brought me into this film. And so, yeah, sometimes I'm not a big fan of these remakes. They're usually more about kind of like the cash grabs and than creativity, but this one was good. It definitely surprised me, and I thoroughly enjoyed it from start to finish. And you could tell there's a lot of heart. There's a lot of heart here. It doesn't feel lazy, by any stretch. It feels like kind of like a love letter to the original, right? This world that's full of a lot of warriors, Viking warriors, actually works, especially in a live action kind of adaptation. Unlike some, like a Disney's Lion King, for example, that kind of felt off, like emotionally. But this one definitely felt right. It felt good. The dragons, it was different. It's a little different than what we're normally kind of accustomed to, especially Toothless, because this is a dragon that you can kind of connect to. There's this empathetic kind of bond that you can almost kind of share between yourself and this dragon. And there's a certain kind of charm and element, you know, with this dragon without being kind of overly realistic. So I like this film. It was good. It was a lot of fun. I think people of all ages can gravitate to this film, and they'll definitely be able to connect with, you know, the characters like, you know, Mason Thames' character, like Hiccup, you know, Toothless. Now Astrid, yeah, Astrid was a little grumpy, a little attitudey, kind of, you know, for the most part of the film, but that's the way the director, that's the way they wanted to portray her character, and she had to be like that. You know, there's a lot of hate, there's a lot of people online, a lot of people in YouTube land that are saying some very nasty things and negative things about Astrid's character. I think I think it's completely off the mark here. I don't think it's fair, and that was the whole purpose, the whole point. Nico Parker, I think, did a great job in being able to provide that realistic kind of a feel to Astrid's character, and then she starts to warm up. She starts to warm up to Hiccup, right, to Mason Thames' character, and she there's that scene where her and Hiccup with Toothless, they found the dragon's lair, they found the dragon's nest, and you know, they realized that they came across something very, very important, to the point where holding this kind of information could mean really life or death for their home, for their village, for their people. And as soon as they got back home safely, Nico Parker, she was going to take off, and she was going to warn Stoic, who plays Hiccup's dad, Gerard Butler. And Astrid she's about to walk off, and then Hiccup is like, no, hold on. We can't tell anyone about this, because they're going to do more harm to Toothless, and they're going to, you know, in the process of sharing this information or disseminating this information, Toothless's life could be a danger. And at that point, there's this look between Astrid and Hiccup, and Astrid knew right then and there that you have to be on the same page. It was really good. It was great acting. It was well played out, and it was a lot of fun. Casting definitely is always a big risk, but it paid off. As I mentioned, Mason Thames did a great job. Nico Parker also did a really good job. And Gerard Butler is Gerard Butler. I mean, who else do you want when it comes to a warrior, a Viking warrior? You know, it's funny, because a lot of this film, I thought I was going to see elements of his character in Sparta, but I saw more of his character of Attila the Hun. And he did such a great job in that movie as well. And if you watch the movie Attila the Hun, Attila also had a fortune teller, an oracle, if you want to call it, that would basically play around with, or, you know, roll some like animal bones on the ground, and from there be able to ascertain, you know, or receive some kind of like revelations or things like that, to kind of as an advisor to Attila. And the same thing in this movie as well, because Stoic also has an oracle very similar to his character in Attila the Hun. And this oracle would reach into the pouch, you know, to get some animal bones, and from there was able to fortune tell and reveal certain things. But anyhow, there was a small little connection there, but having Gerard Butler reprise his role was definitely genius, and it was also great. And the movie wasn't stale. I think, honestly, like, it could have gone wrong. This movie could have definitely fallen off the mark, but you know, Dubois and you know, his merry team of writers and producers and all the operational staff, they did everything they can to really make this movie a hit. So yeah, while it's not technically reinventing the wheel, this remake respects the original in the best way possible. If you love the original, I think you're gonna walk away with the feeling of being pretty satisfied. Definitely worth checking out in theaters if you still can. If not, grab some popcorn from a movie theater, go back home, and you know, there's lots of ways to watch this film. I think you're going to totally be impressed. So I want to thank you guys for joining us, and hey, I hope you guys like this review enough to share some comments. I want to hear what you guys have to say, and please smash a like and subscribe, and I look forward to catching you guys on the next one.